As a sound designer, a question I ask myself a lot is how do I choose the correct audio to emphasize a scene in a film? There is a quote by Treg Brown, a pioneering sound designer, that quotes, "Never use the right sound for an action." To break this quote down, it suggests a concept of not using the obvious sound to complement a scene and help describe the scene sonically. Unpredictable audio subconsciously keeps the viewer transfixed to the film scene. This style of sound design is apparent in the dystopian sci-fi franchise of The Matrix, and for the purpose of this video, I'm going to focus on the original 1999 film and discover how sound was manipulated in order to establish the two universes and fluidly transition between them both. The sound design work within The Matrix is acclaimed to be one of the best of its time, and it's no surprise that Dane Davis, the lead sound designer, took longer to create the audio than the film took to shoot itself. The Wachowski brothers gave Dane a brief description of the impact and function they wanted from the film sound, describing their vision to be clear, dynamic, meaningful audio with the theme of electricity resonating throughout. These themes are no more distinguishable when establishing the difference between the real world and the fake Matrix world. The first transition from universe to universe is when Neo chooses the red pill, therefore choosing to see the truth of his existence. This section of the film clearly establishes the two worlds, and to understand how they did so, we need to focus on every sonic detail during the scene and how the audio was used. Neo is sat in a dark room whilst Morpheus continues to tell him the truth about his existence. During the talking, we can hear steady thunder and lightning in the background. These earthly noises remind us that we are on what we perceive as the real world. When Neo proceeds to take the red pill, a clap of thunder and lightning comes to the forefront of audio to emphasize that the choice has been made and build the tension for what is about to come. When Neo starts to touch the mirror, we start to hear digital whining as the mercury starts to absorb his skin. The rain is still prominent in the audio track at this point, which gives us an eerie reminder we are still on what we perceive as Earth. The more the mercury continues to cover Neo, the volume and consistency of the digital whining increases, and all the technical equipment in the room also continues to rise in speed, intensity and volume, putting the audience on edge as it builds us towards a climax. As the mercury starts to enter Neo's throat, he starts to scream, which then becomes digitalized and glitchy before cutting to black to establish the transition into the Matrix has been done. His scream becomes digitalized so as to disconnect the human's action of screaming away from Neo's body, giving us the idea that we are crossing the line of the real and unreal. The audio acts as a storytelling device within the scene, and without the audio it is difficult to establish what has actually happened visually. The audio continues to paint the picture of what is actually happening when Neo arrives in the power plant after being sucked through the mirror. On his arrival, the heavy drone of electrics are purposely reminiscent of the thunderstorm in the previous scene, connecting the scenes but equally reminding us that this is a completely different world. This evolution of the soundtrack between the scenes emphasises our visual understanding that the horrific landscape of the power plant is the truth, and the life before was just an artificial image. The soundtrack continues to distinguish the two worlds throughout the film. Dane approached the soundscape for the Matrix world the way the film wanted us to perceive it. As the Matrix world was created by robots, the robots would only have a grasp of an idea of what things sound like, therefore the audio was kept very basic and certain elements were left out to distinguish the fake world to the audience. This is most notable in the scene with the girl in the red dress. As Neo follows Morpheus down a busy street, we would expect a loud cacophony of sounds and noises, but instead the sound is stripped back, only focusing on footsteps and the occasional rumble and beeping of passing cars. There is little to no ambience, the characters' voices are heightened, and instead the empty space is filled with music. This is done with the purpose of unsettling the audience and giving an eerie feel of a dead space without life, as visually we perceive it as the real world, but sonically it reminds us that it is all fake. This theme runs throughout the film and is a clever use of juxtaposition of visuals and audio. On the other hand, the real-world sound design is completely different. The soundtrack is heavily infused with electricity and heavy mechanics to sonically paint a picture of a dark, grungy world. Ambient sound is restored when entering back into the real world, but instead the sounds are abstract and unworldly, making it hard to understand this is in fact the real world. Ultimately, the whole theme of the film is to question reality and wonder what is real and what isn't. With the clever use of sound design and the sonic juxtaposition used throughout, the audio emphasises confusion between the worlds but equally establishes the two worlds with a clear audio border. When moving from world to world, Davis' clever selection and manipulation of the audio helps guide the visuals, and without such a precise audio track in certain scenes, the audience could be left confused and the goal of the film would be lost. In my opinion, the film is built upon the soundtrack, and although the film consists of beautiful shots, great effects, and great cast, I believe it's truly Dane Davis who really brings the film to life for his captivating audio.